Hello there, you're now watching TVS Nightline. I'm Muhammad Yusuf, and let's get on to our top story. The culture of sabotaging is clearly alienated in the Gabungan Parti Sarawak GPS coalition. The matter was confirmed by its chairman, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg. He pointed out that Sarawak remains peaceful and harmonious and is not easily swayed by the political dispute that occurred at the federal level.
Jadi kita Sarawak si Kedaya aman. Kita Sarawak oleh sebab aman saya dapat datang kampung 5 kali. Kalau begitu saya terpaksa nanggap belakang saya. Walau takut kena step.
Abang Johari, who is also the Chief Minister of Sarawak, said the party was always practicing changes in leadership where the leaders themselves would voluntarily resign and give way to a new face.
The Gabungan Parti Sarawak GPS has yet to receive an invitation from BERSATU to discuss the 12th state election. GPS Chairman Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said in any case, should the coalition get an invitation, he would have to look into it first before making any decision. Commenting further, he said he was not aware of any discussion and the objectives of the discussion will be taken into account should there be an invitation. BERSATU Secretary General Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin yesterday was quoted as saying that BERSATU will hold discussions with Perikatan Nasional PN and GPS component parties to prepare and determine strategies for the Sarawak election. Meanwhile, when asked how GPS would react if BERSATU goes ahead and fields candidates in the state election, Abang Johari said the party had the right to do so, but GPS would remain firm with its own decision to contest on all 82 seats. The Election Commission has set December 18 as polling day for the Sarawak state election. Nominations will be held on December 6 and early voting on December 14. Now, the Deputy President of Parti Pesaka Bumiputra Bersatu PBB, Dato' Amar Douglas UGGAH Embas, commended the integrity of former Bukit SEMUJA Assemblyman John ILUS in delivering services to the residents in his area. In fact, he hinted that John ILUS will defend the Bukit SEMUJA seat in the upcoming state polls.
Beliau masih muda, cergas, dan kita cukup berpuas hati dengan prestasi dia. Kita juga sentiasa membantu beliau untuk membangunkan kawasan Bukit SEMUJA.
However, he added the final decision will be determined by the Chief Minister, who is also the GPS Chairman, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg. He hopes that voters in the area will give their solid support to the candidate nominated by the Gabungan Parti Sarawak GPS.
18 bulan. Ini adalah satu detik yang cukup penting untuk orang Sarawak. Kerana inilah kali pertama orang Sarawak ada parti GPS yang tidak menggunakan lambang gacit. Dan kita juga telah menjaga hak-hak Sarawak dan janji kerajaan negeri Sarawak adalah akan meneruskan pembangunan-pembangunan yang telah dijalankan pada tahun 5 tahun yang akan datang. Jadi saya harap semua kita di sini, kampung kita di Benoto, sama-sama bersukung, sama-sama bertolong, sama-sama memberi undi nanti kepada calon GPS kita di Bukit SEMUJA.
Meanwhile, Bukit SEMUJA incumbent John ILUS will leave it to the Chief Minister in regards to the Bukit SEMUJA seat for the upcoming 12th state election. Instead, he said continuous efforts will be given to the residents in his area.
Kita serahkan pada Ketua Menteri kita, iaitu Presiden Parti. Namun demikian, kita bersedia. Kita bersedia untuk membantu dan bersedia untuk menghadapi pilihan raya ini. Kita menggunakan jentera dalam parti. Maksud di sini kita menggunakan ranting, kita menggunakan anggota kita di peringkat kampung dan begitu juga dengan peringkat cawangan, di mana kita mengerahkan anggota-anggota kita, kaki tangan kita, staf ahli parti kita untuk membuat persediaan di mana kita telah merancang jadual penjumpaan dan sebagainya.
On a similar development, Sarawak United People's Party SUPP Secretary General Datuk Sebastian Ting has confirmed that he will be defending the Piasau seat in the upcoming state polls. 20 seats will be delegated to SUPP as stated by the Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, and according to Ting, 12 of the candidates will be fresh faces. The 1.4 kilometers retaining wall construction along Oya Coastal is expected to be completed in 2023. The project falls under the Coastal Erosion Control Project, costing a whopping 14 million ringgit that also doubles as a pedestrian walk path and several other facilities.
Minister of Welfare, Community Wellbeing, Women, Family and Childhood Development, who is also Dalat incumbent Datuk Sri Fatimah Abdullah, said the project has the potential to establish a new attraction in Oya, further boosting tourism activities and the local economy.
Yang kita hasratkan adalah ini satu lagi tempat yang akan menjadi tarikan kepada pelancong dalaman dan juga dari luar. Jadi dengan sebab itu kita perlu menyediakan kemudahan-kemudahan. Bukan saja sebagai tarikan pelancong, tetapi ianya juga nanti ia menjadi satu tempat beriadah bagi penggemar-penggemar pantai dan ombaknya, ya, dan air lautnya. Tempat ini dekat dengan Pekan Sabtu, jadi ini ada satu kelebihannya. Pekan Sabtu, kemudian tidak jauh daripada Pekan Sabtu ialah tapak ini.
Fatimah said the retaining wall is important to avoid waste from the sea from washing up on the coastal of Oya Beach, as well as to avoid erosion. Fatimah also hopes that the local residents in the area would provide cooperation with appointed contractors during the construction phase.
So bila siang dan malam maknanya ada bunyi tu nanti mungkin boleh menjadi gangguan kepada penduduk kampung sebab bunyi mesin kan. So pihak DID dan juga pihak DID dan kontraktor akan membuat engagement dengan orang kampung, ya, melalui JKK, melalui ketua kaum, melalui ketua masyarakat, supaya mereka faham apa yang akan berlaku dan juga supaya mereka dapat sabar, ya. Dan selain daripada itu juga nanti orang kampung perlu juga, ya, memberi persetujuan iaitu way of izin lalu, ya, untuk izin lalu untuk untuk kontraktor menjalankan projek ini.
Right. For residents surrounding Oya coastal areas, they would feel much secure during high tide and the monsoon season with the construction of the retaining wall. The project, muchly anticipated by the locals, is worth the wait, whereby apart from providing protection from high tides, the area could also provide the residents with new attraction with the construction of new coastal walk paths for recreational purposes.
Jadi saya bagi pihak penduduk kampung Kuala Oya ini, kami mengucapkan terima kasihlah kepada kerajaan dan juga kerajaan Sarawak, sama sekali kepada Yang Muhammad Datuk Sri Fatimah Abdullah Adun Elit Dalat, karena beliau yang sentiasa memberi kerjasama kepada kami sehingga tercapai nanti cita kami Oya ini untuk diadakan benteng yang pisan untuk Kuala Oya inilah. Kami sangat teruja lah bila ada tulisan benteng inilah, ya, banyak memberi manfaat kepada kami di Oya ini. Karena utama sekali kepada penduduk di kampung kawasan inilah yang biasa tidak tidur lena malam hanya musim hujan tiba. Ya, gelombang akan besar, akan ada kisah. Nah, dengan adanya benteng ini, alhamdulillah memang sangat bermanfaat kepada kami.
Setelah sekian lama kita menunggu, alhamdulillah hari ini menjadi kenyataan bagi kami, terutamalah penduduk Kampung Kuala Hilir, yang akan merubah landscape kawasan pantai kami, bukan setakat untuk penduduk di Kuala Hilir, tapi secara keseluruhannya adalah untuk penduduk Oya dan sekitarnya lah, di Dalat. Karena tempat ini seperti yang kita maklumi adalah tempat tumpuan bagi pengunjung-pengunjung pada sebelah petangnya, pada penghujung minggunya, dan tempat para kaki pancing yang menjadi spot mereka untuk memancing di kawasan ini. Dan terutamanya adalah untuk kita adakan pesta kaul tiap-tiap tahun kecuali ketika masa COVID ini.
On to the next story. An infant and a partially mobile 64-year-old woman survived a fire incident that took place in Kampung Nombor 6, Satok earlier today. The infant made it out whilst her mother, whilst 5 other children were rescued by Dayang Mahzalin Awang Mahdini, her relative. Dayang, who is the owner of the famous Cuco Kampung Nombor 6, also had some help from her customers.
Kami orang berjual depannya, kan orang kami. Mula kami orang perasan lah. Kami fikir orang manduk. Yang ada asap. Orang beli cucu depan banyak, asap pada keluar. Kami dua ambil fikir, apa orang manduk ke apa? Yalah, icut terus nulak pintu di atas lah. Dok, coba kau nangka bilik aku keluar api. Yalah, kali kami orang nangka nulis ke belakang kan, kali di depan orang beli cucu. Kali yang nulis belakang tu, nang dah api ya, nang dah dari bilik, nang dah marah ke bilik nak. Lalu tolong tu. Terus bab, lalu meletup, lalu semuanya mengelap, lalu marah orang terus. Makmuk kau, Mak Siti, makmuk kau kan stroke. Dan ya tak nak, makmuk kau nak tu, apa nama tu, mandi dan mandi tu. Ya si sedar juga, ialah andot meripong dalam mak turun debah. Ada orang-orang dengan meripongnya. Ya tu, keluarlah kami orang lah ngambil salah. Ya tu, kan minyak debah atas banyak. Kali ngambil nyamak di debah dulu, ngambil minyak mak berikut di jaya.
The fire occurred at around 10:56 a.m. and is believed to be caused by wiring faultiness, according to the Fire and Rescue Department, Bomba. The Fire and Rescue Department arrived at around 11:05 a.m. Senior Bomba officer Tan Min Chai headed the operation, and the fire was under control at around 11:23 a.m. Dayang then recalled how the situation was before the Bomba arrived at the scene.
Duduk-duduk aku saya seorang aku su. Kuatan aku minta tolong orang. Kau nangga orang sedang orang beli cucu supaya semua nolong kami orang. Kami orang panik ngambil air nimbah semua kau nak nimbah kus kecil. Bangan kami orang olehlah dah berupa makanan apa suruh orang kucing itu ada tidak bergula customer kat lini nak cucu-cucu ya semua ada beri sumbangan dah masih yang kali ni pai dalam cucu nombor 16 Facebooknya kan ada yang mudah live tadi mudah makasih nak reply sikit-sikit siklah dekat link untuk dapat kepada nang hotline lah handphone kat link dari malam tu sampai malam lah orang telefon banyak apa kita perlu apa perlu. Saya mana mak kasih jak medahnya orang beri berasu banyak dak pamper dak alhamdulillah lah beri orang.
Dayang then disclosed that the family will be housed temporarily at a nearby house owned by a Good Samaritan amongst the community. 5 families will be housed there tomorrow, which consists of a total of 20 people.
Ada penempatannya ada orang jiran rumah depan rumah Maji Nya ada beri rumah untuk diam sementara lah pakai untuk pertemuan untuk keluarga. Tapi masalahnya kali mungkin esok pindah lah. Malam untuk tidur rumah. Esok lah di Jalan Pulas ya. Mak Haji depan rumah saya prihatin nyuruh dia rumah ya.
The Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, KPDNHEP, is aware of the price hikes of goods and is constantly monitoring prices, especially those involving food and basic necessities. Thus, the ministry said talks with relevant agencies have been held and certain regulatory measures will be announced in the near future to control the spike in prices of essential goods.
Its Minister, Dato Sri Alexander Nantalinggi, said a meeting was held with the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industry yesterday to address the matter with a solution to control the sudden spike in the price of goods.
KPDN kita sedar ada kenaikan barang-barangan keperluan dan juga barang-barangan yang lain ya. Jadi seperti mana selalu kita maklum dan jelaskan sebenarnya kenaikan harga ini kita dapati adalah menyeluruh ya bukan sekadar di negara kita di negara lain pun. Jadi Berbalik ke isu-isu barangan keperluan di negara kita seperti ayam, sayur-sayuran, buah-buahan itu. Semalam 3 kementerian duduk bermesyuarat, iaitu Kabinet NCP bersama Kementerian Pertanian dan Industri Makanan, juga bersama Kementerian Keuangan, di mana kami berbincang bagaimana dalam masa terdekat ini membuat sesuatu langkah-langkah yang mungkin dapat mengawal keadaan ini, dan kalau boleh kita kurangkan harga barangan keperluan. Jadi saya minta sabar sedikit untuk pengumuman rasmi dibuat.
Alexander Nanta made the statement after officiating the 2000 branch of 99 Speed Mart at Puncak Sentul on Thursday, 26 November. The minister said most of the causes of the spike in the price of essential goods are beyond the control of the ministry. Commenting on the price of chicken and vegetables, he said that the increase in operating costs of livestock companies, import costs, and increase in the price of fertilizers and pesticides were among the reasons that contributed to the increase in prices in the markets.
Pilihan Raya Negeri ke-12 Sarawak. 82 kerusi Dewan Undangan Negeri dipertandingkan. TVS membawakan data, analisis, persembahan menarik serta informasi tentang kesemua Dewan Undangan Negeri. Berita terkini dan komprehensif. Laporan wartawan di lokasi.
Laporan Odlin Katadi. Saya Priscilla Chon.
Saya Kaizari Afindi.
Laporan Salasa Safia.
Saya Lukman Muhammad.
Laporan daripada saya Jessica Chun.
Ruben Gomez. Saya Studawi. M. Haris Zainuddin.
Untuk TVS. Untuk TVS.
Sarawak Decides hanya di TVS saluran 122.
Welcome back. Now on to some COVID update. Sarawak continues to record a downward trend with 144 new infections recorded on Friday. This brings the total cumulative number of COVID-19 infections to 250,229 cases. Of the total, the Sarawak Disaster Management Committee SDMC said 139 cases were of categories 1 and 2 and only 5 cases were categories 3, 4 and 5. Kuching on Friday recorded only 59 daily cases, followed by Miri with 18 cases and Bintulu 13 cases. Other districts recorded below 10 cases. However, 3 fatalities were recorded which involved individuals aged 49 to 75 years old. Of the death cases, 2 had comorbidities history. Malaysia is currently working with a few Asia-Europe meeting or ASEM partners like Singapore and Indonesia to establish the Vaccinated Travel Lane or VTL on the path of socio-economic recovery. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob hoped the resumption of people movement between countries would help boost economies, resuscitate livelihoods and refresh people-to-people contact. Commenting further, he said despite the negative impacts, the COVID-19 pandemic has presented the world with opportunities. Therefore, Ismail Sabri has called upon the ASEM partners to facilitate and promote people-to-people access and to foster deeper economic ties. ASEM, an intergovernmental process established on March 1, 1996 to foster dialogue and cooperation between Asia and Europe, comprises 21 Asian countries, 28 European Union countries, 2 European countries, the ASEAN Secretariat, and the European Commission. Malaysia joined ASEM in 1996 and has since actively participated in all ASEM initiatives that benefit both regions. This year's theme, Strengthening Multilateralism for Shared Growth, aligns with the current efforts undertaken by ASEM in tackling pressing global challenges through effective dialogue cooperation. Now, advancing a green growth agenda is essential in achieving economic empowerment, environmental sustainability, and social inclusion. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said, in the pursuit of a green and sustainable environment, governments would still require to execute a pragmatic and precise strategy to eradicate extreme poverty, hunger, and inequalities. Commenting further, Ismail Sabri hoped that developed countries will continue supporting and providing technical assistance and technology transfer to the developing world in green and sustainable programs. Adding to that, he said that mainstreaming sustainability is paramount in ensuring the smooth transition to a greener ecosystem. Meanwhile, in September, the Malaysian government had launched the 12th Malaysia Plan that practically aligned the national development priorities to the Sustainable Development Goals SDGs of the 2030 Agenda. In addition to that, Malaysia also announced its commitment to become a net zero greenhouse gas emission nation by 2050 at the earliest. As an early response to assist farmers affected by the increase in the prices of fertilizers and pesticides, the government will allocate 262 million ringgit, and of the amount, 62 million ringgit would be channeled through the National Farmers Organisation or NAFAS as an addition to the subsidy allocation and paddy incentive under Budget 2020, which amounts to a total of 1.5 billion ringgit. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said 200 million ringgit would be used as agro-food loan at zero interest rate, in addition to a 6-month loan repayment moratorium under Tekun Nasional or Tekun, an agro-bank for the benefit of affected vegetable and fruit growers.
Kerajaan dari masa ke semasa sentiasa memberi perhatian terhadap masalah yang dihadapi oleh keluarga peladang, termasuk isu terkini yang berkaitan dengan peningkatan harga baja dan racun.
He said so at the launching of the 7th NAFAS Annual General Meeting AGM today. Commenting further, he said he had also instructed the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries, MAFI, Ministry of Finance, MOF, and Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs to formulate mitigation measures to address the issue. As such, the government would also continue providing subsidies and incentives based on inputs and outputs, where contracts to supply and deliver agricultural inputs would be given to NAFAS as the parent body of the Pertubuhan Peladang movement, which has 92,000 members nationwide. The Prime Minister also hoped that the farmer family would grow close and always care for the welfare of one another and thus move as a subset to complete the Malaysian family. The Ministry of Health, MOH, will intensify enforcement, particularly at business premises and restaurants, following reports that traders are no longer checking customers' vaccination status. Its Minister, Khairi Jamaluddin, reiterated that MOH viewed the current COVID-19 situation seriously and measures were taken to reduce the infection rate.
Selain daripada usaha untuk memperluaskan lagi penerima booster, seperti mana keputusan yang dibuat oleh CITFB tempoh hari, Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia juga akan mempergiatkan lagi penguatkuasaan, terutamanya di premis-premis perniagaan. Saya dapat laporan bahawa banyak premis perniagaan sudah tidak lagi semak status vaksinasi pelanggan mereka. Saya telah mengarahkan bahagian penguatkuasaan KKM untuk membuat semakan kepada premis-premis perniagaan ini dan untuk keluarkan kompaun kepada premis-premis yang tidak membuat semakan kepada status vaksinasi ataupun yang tidak mematuhi kepada SOP-SOP yang telah ditetapkan oleh Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia.
Khairi said that all states except Perlis, Sarawak and Sabah showed an increase in COVID-19 cases due to flexibilities allowed for interstate travel starting October 11th.
Justru, bagi memastikan tahap antibodi terhadap jangkitan COVID-19 kekal optimum, KKM menyarankan pemberian dos penggalak dan sehingga 25 November, sebanyak 1,823,474 dos penggalak telah diberikan.
Right. 55 students from University Tunku Abdul Rahman or UTAR have been awarded by the China Ambassador Scholarship worth over 195,000 ringgit for the year 2021. Recipients consist of a multi-race foundation and undergraduate students, and the award was in recognition of their efforts and achievements during their studies.
Presenting the award was Ouyang Yujing, China's ambassador to Malaysia, according to a statement from UTAR in a ceremony held virtually. Ouyang, in his remarks, said UTAR has played a major role in the contribution of deep and mutual learning of China's culture and education, especially between youth. The statement also stated that since 2016, over 200 UTAR students have benefited from the scholarships worth over 750,000 ringgit. The ambassador also shared the record number of bilateral trade between Malaysia and China, which has achieved a new high of over $131 billion in 2020 and an increase of 5.7% on a year-on-year basis. China's official figures have also revealed that this year's bilateral trade hit over $81 billion for the first half of 2021.
Pemain gasing terhebat di seluruh dunia akan bertarung di Akademi Super Spin untuk gelaran Raja Super Spin. Mampukah Meteor mengatasi peserta hebat yang lain? Saksikan aksi Meteor dan rakan-rakannya dalam Super Spin Combiner setiap Sabtu dan Ahad jam 8.30 pagi hanya di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My TV.
Negeri Sarawak, sebuah negeri yang nyata luar biasa. Inilah misi untuk mengeksplorasi keindahan dan keunikan negeri Sarawak.
Perjalanan ke lokasi pun dah menjadi seperti sesuatu pengembaraan. Macam-macam lah yang ada. Budaya, sosial, landscape, flora, fauna dan alam semula jadi.
Jom bersama aku, Chopi dan Amir mengembara pusing Sarawak ini dalam Kemah Kita Bah.
Welcome back. Now on to some global update. Cambodian conservationists released 51 critically endangered royal turtles back into the wild on Friday, November 26, in a drive to bolster a species thought to be extinct 2 decades ago. Also known as the Southern River Terrapin, the large river turtles are on the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List of Threatened Species, and the European Union is helping to fund the revival program in Cambodia.
The turtles were collected between 2006 and 2015 and were released into the river. The turtles consist of 31 females and 20 males between 6 and 15 years old and are implanted with a microchip. The royal turtle was believed to be extinct in Cambodia until year 2000 due to illegal fishing and loss of habitat. It was designated to be the country's national reptile in 2005.
No matter what happens in life, be good to people, because being good is a wonderful legacy to leave behind. That's all the time we have for tonight's TVS Nightline. I'm Muhammad Yusuf. Stay safe and have a very good rest.